Hi, I'm Megan with Full Send. I want to walk through an example of an AI agent inside of this automation workflow using a tool called Make. So, for the sake of the demo today, this is going to be an accounts receivable workflow. But the beauty of this is that every single company has backend operations, and so hopefully you can lift and shift the same use case or concept and apply it to your day to day. So to start, again, this is looking at invoices that are past due and how do we actually take action on those in an efficient, effective way. So starting in QuickBooks, you can see in invoices here, a list of overdue invoices. So these are going to be the ones that we'll act on in this demo. A lot of you may be thinking, well, doesn't the software like QuickBooks or Shopify, Stripe, fill in the blank, have AI built into it to send out, let's say, those reminders? And they do, but they're lacking that context, a soft context that might be helpful to act more in like a humanly way. For example, what if you chatted with someone and they told you, hey, we're going to pay on Friday? QuickBooks doesn't know that. And so, how do we actually embed that extra context into our workflow? So, that's actually where we start. In this automation, we start here in QuickBooks. You will also see that this is its own module versus giving your agent access to QuickBooks to go, let's say, find invoices that are 7 days late. This is a deterministic step. We say for this workflow, this is where you start, and this is exactly what you do. And so we can upload or open this up here. You can see this actual query that does an exact step and then passes that data off to the next thing. The next step is this workbench where this is how we have the human in the loop. We'll pull this up to show you this is where actually tracking the invoice detail and adding context to the sheet along the way. Again, another deterministic step that's very specific. I want this field in this piece of our sheet. And so the final deterministic step is that we're going to go search Gmail. Again, we could give our agent access to this tool to say, go search for any communication I've had with this client or customer. But I wanted to be very specific in two different ways with our Gmail search. I wanted to say, one of them is go look for anything that I've actually talked about this specific invoice. And then the other one says, more broadly, how have I actually interacted with this customer before to get more of like a, how do we engage? What other things would be relevant to this decision? So once I have all of that data, I've logged it in our workbench. That's where the actual agent comes in to bring in that reasoning. So with our agent, we've actually predefined over here in a separate step what the goal of the agent and the guardrail to say, okay, I'm going to pass you all this information. I need you to do three things. I need you to help me decide A, should we reach out to them? B, give me the context or the reason why. And then C, if so, give me the draft email. And so those are the three steps. We give a little more context about like the type of language, what not to do to set it up well. And then for this scenario, if we open it up, you can see it already knows its own goal. So here's the specific information for this instance. And then down below, this is where you define output schema to say, I need the email, I need the description, I need the reasoning summary of what you decided and why. So that's where you give it the input, and then you also give it the output, which we then store again in that workbench. So let's run this and we can see what's actually going on under the hood. So again, our invoices in QuickBooks, let's see if they're being updated here. Yep, that was that first one. So the Pure Madness group is coming into our workbench. And then let's stop it so we can actually look at what's happening in our agent. So let's look at that first operation, and there's a response. So the final step, we could attach as the last step Gmail as an output to say, actually go send these. But we wanted our team to be very much in the loop to review and revise these as we go. And so while our team, yes, loves Excel and Google Spreadsheets, we thought there's a better way. The last step, we created a user interface or an app that sits on top of that data in Google Sheets. It's a live interaction that we can view and engage with or interact with this data. So we use a tool called Lovable. Highly recommend to build lightweight apps for your day to day. Every row in our workbench is one section here. So you can see this is a client. Here's the KPIs that attach to this. Here's a note, additional context as to why we decided that. And they can come in and say, yep, I like it, send to drafts. They can edit, say, okay, please don't say warm regards ever again. Or the best part, they could say, no, don't send and tell us why. Maybe this is that the customer that said that they're going to pay Friday. And so it will now incorporate that into the feedback loop. So when this runs again tomorrow, we'll say, it's not Friday yet. Still don't reach out to this person. And so that feedback loop is key. And then let's see if this has been refreshed with, there it is. There's your latest and greatest. That's just been refreshed on a daily basis. So something that used to take our team time to log into multiple systems, gather that context, make a decision, is now in one place. And is a little more of a cohesive story to help guide their decision making. So again, the kind of end-to-end workflow, we have our deterministic steps where we gather data, we format it in the right context, and then we overlay that intelligence layer on to help make the decision of what to send and when. So hope this is helpful, and go send it.